What's going on, Failroaders? I just played God of War Ragnarok, and I gotta say, there's a few things I don't like about this game. Spoiler warnings, because yeah, I'm gonna talk about everything in God of War Ragnarok. First off, there's this annoying glitch where there's this exclamation icon in the weapons category when you're upgrading weapons, and it never goes away. It just never goes away, even though there's nothing new. You've seen everything there is to see. And then there's also this thing that they like to do where they introduce you to this big world, and there's all these strange things that you just can't quite access yet. And then later on in the game, you get some new ability, or you get an item or something, and then it lets you know, hey, look, all those things that you could do, you couldn't get to before, now you can get to them. And so then you travel all through all these realms that haven't been to in hours, and you can't remember where everything is that you can unlock with this new ability or weapon or something. And it just takes so long. And then there are these weird glitches, other glitches that happen when you're just like traveling along the map or like in the world tree, and it's just like how did they let these glitches get by? I mean, yeah, okay, the glitches seem to like repair themselves, like it doesn't freeze the game or anything, and you're able to get out of it and continue playing the game. So yeah, I mean, you do, like, they did, I guess, make the glitches work. And well, that's it. That's all the bad things I have to say about this game. Because I freaking loved it. It might just be my game of the year. And that's kind of sad because it's only January. And yet I may have played the best game that I'll play this entire year. I've got nothing but positive things to say about this game from here on out. Starting with the storyline. I mean, let me get this out of the way too. They improved upon everything that the original God of War Best Dad Ever had to offer. This game is 91 gigs minimum storage, and I was like, wow, 91 gigs. What could they have possibly filled with this? And oh man, did they deliver. You remember when I was complaining about all those giant realms that you could travel around and you had to search back through to get to these little secret areas? They're massive. And it gives you a lot of stuff to do. And they're all beautiful as well. I think this game might very well be like twice as big as the original God of War from a few years ago. I enjoyed the combat system. The combat system was like a larger version of what the original had to offer. So I get this new spear, and I'm just like, you mean I have 3 weapons now? Not only did I get 3 weapons for Kratos, but you could also play as Atreus in the original God of War. And when I say the original, I mean like the original Norse one. You played as Kratos, and Atreus was your sidekick, your second. In this game, you play as Kratos, you play as Atreus. You have Atreus as a sidekick. You have Freya as a sidekick, who's a total badass as a sidekick. You get Sindri, you get Brock, you get Angerboda. There's just so much more that they added to this game, and every time they added a little bit more, I thought to myself, my goodness, they couldn't possibly have more. Glitches aside, this game is nearly flawless after that. There are some areas where I feel like the voice acting is a little iffy.
I believe we have to light both torches at the same time.
But overall, it's amazing. It's a great story. I found myself in the very beginning getting to play as Atreus and going to hunt down Freya. I'm just like, oh my god, I'm fearful for him. When he first enters the realm of the giants and meets Angerboda for the first time, seeing this, this young kid who's in, like, most of his life has just been this hardship after hardship. But then he meets Angerboda, and you see this shift in character. You see him like light up, and you're like, wow, man, he's happy. Like, I want him to continue being happy. And then there's this foreboding feeling that, oh God, he's happy. This is going to like get ripped out from under him because this is God of War, and God of War, like, bad things happen to good people. It's like Game of Thrones for video games. Getting Angerboda as a sidekick as well, seeing her magic, like, it's not just like half-assed. Like, they went all out with these sidekicks, even if you only got them as a sidekick once or twice. Atreus' ability to shift into a wolf or a bear, great. There's a lot of great stuff going on here. Also, the number of characters in this one as opposed to the original, I think they like quadrupled, even more than quadrupled, the number of speaking characters in this game. The way that they altered Norse mythology too, like, I didn't mind that at all. I really loved how they implemented, traditional Norse mythology into the story that they had created with Kratos coming from another realm.
Who tended your world tree back home?
My home had no world tree.
No, you had no, but without how?
And then having Atreus, his son, aka Loki, getting to see that story unfold, and then just the character of, Kratos, Mimir, obviously, the dwarves, Sindri and Brock. I can't complain about that at all. Seeing each time they introduced a new character, I thought to myself, wow, this has got to be like the last new character they're going to introduce. They've already done so much. I love the way that, we had this battle with Thor early on. We met Odin early on, which immediately gives us this sense of dread, this sense of nowhere is safe. And then going on the adventure to try and thwart destiny, which is what pretty much the entire God of War Ragnarok game is like about. It's sort of the theme. It's like writing your own destiny. There's this thing that tells you, oh, you're going to do this and you're going to follow this path and this is what's going to happen to you and this is what's going to happen to your loved ones. And they spend this entire game, questioning, are they destined for this fate that has been foreseen for them? Or is there a way around it? Are the decisions they are making based on the fact that they know their own fate? And if they know their own fate and they're making decisions based on this, are they actually steering themselves headlong into what they're trying to avoid? Really enjoyed that. The fact that Tyr, one of the things they try to do is find Tyr, and late game you find out that you've told Tyr all these secrets, you've told him your plans, you've invited him into this secret home base that you have, and he was Odin the entire time. And it's just like, oh God, fate's going to come true. Kratos is going to die, and somehow Atreus, aka Loki, is going to have to join Odin. And then the first time that he actually does go to visit Odin, Atreus, it's like, what's going to happen? Like, Odin pretty much invites him to Asgard. And then meeting the Asgardians as well, seeing the other side of the coin from their point of view. Really loved the implementation. There's a lot of Norse mythology in here that has been manipulated a little bit so that, once again, it fits the God of War story, but it's drenched in it. The immense world that they created, especially with these side quests. I knew in the original that they had some really good side quests, and they had expansive side quests. In this one, it's like you enter this huge area and you're like, oh wow, this is a big side quest area. This side quest area is as big as the main quest area. And there are tons of little favors and side objectives to accomplish in all these areas. And you think to yourself, okay, well, I've gone to this one. That's probably going to be it for, the side quest areas. There might be some small ones here and there. There's like 4 or 5 big side quest areas. And I'm talking like, I mean, look at this map. Like here's the main quest area in Vanaheim. And then down here, this little section of the main quest area is actually full of just side quests too. You don't have to actually go and do this. And then later on in the game, you're like, oh, hey, what's this? I'm going to go do this. And it unlocks this giant area that is filled with hours and hours of content, side stuff, but all these side things tie in a little bits of information for other characters and the lore and the history of the world that you are, or the realms that you are exploring. Getting to the end of this, I thought for sure that they were going to set this up for a part 3. And they very well could set this up for a part 3, and I'll get into that in a minute. I was surely thinking that by the end of this game, Kratos was going to die, and Atreus was going to have to join Odin in Asgard, and I was thrilled to be wrong about that. I was just like, wow, here's this happy ending for these characters who have, for all intents and purposes, had very, very rough lives. You know, you get to thwart fate, and the final battle is huge. Loved every second of it. Seeing how Kratos has changed over time is really awesome. You can definitely see the growth in his character, and you see the growth in Atreus as well. And then you get to the ending, or what you think is the ending, and you're like, wow, this journey is over. I'm done playing this game. Let me just go and say goodbye to all these characters, or like say, hey, we did it, we're done. You get to the end, and Atreus says, hey Dad, I've got a mission to go on. I've got to go look for other giants. There are other giants out there. And then he leaves. And so that's the kind of part that, yeah, they could set it up for another game, but this is closure. Like, you get to the end of God of War Ragnarok, and you have closure for all of the characters. They're all in a happier place. Yeah, they've had to make sacrifices, well, with the exception of Sindri. Sindri's not in a happier place. And of course, that also, too, could be left open to a third game, but they could leave it off here. Unlike a lot of games where it's like, hey, do you want to start a new game plus file? God of War Ragnarok just says, hey, now that you've defeated Odin, you've got more stuff to do. You can go to 8 of the 9 realms and continue to clean up and finish side quests that you missed, but also you get new side quests after the main game is over. And one of them is a funeral for Brock. And you go to that funeral and you're like, oh wow, this is intense. And then the real credits roll. So I've got to say, I was totally impressed with the size of this game. Freaking Santa Monica Studios put a ton of work into this game. I can't believe they were able to sell this game for just a regular game price. I feel like the size of God of War Ragnarok is like a normal PlayStation game plus DLC, and it's all here. The combat system, once again, is fluid and satisfying. The upgrading system is very much like the original. It's just you just have a ton more to upgrade. Getting to have multiple sidekicks, especially in Freya, is a ton of fun. Seeing the emotional journeys of these characters, seeing Atreus meet other people his own age, not just Angerboda, but also Thrud in Asgard, and getting to see him learn that, there's going to be more to life than just him having to live up to his father's legacy. And then the villains, great villains. Odin is an extremely manipulative person, and playing the game, he's the villain, and at the same time, you're like, man, I almost want to follow Odin and see where this leads. So yeah, once again, God of War, quite possibly my best game of the year, and we're not even 1 month into the year. If you've got a PlayStation 5 or a PlayStation 4, I recommend playing this on a PlayStation 5. Heard issues with the PS4s having running a little hot playing this game, and I can understand why. Pick this game up. If you're on the fence about it, get off the fence and get on the side of trying this game out. So thanks for watching my review of God of War Ragnarok, and I hope you'll check out more board game and video game videos on the FailroadExpress. Catch you guys next time.